I don't want it to feel like we got, you know, a contemporary aged Arnold Schwarzenegger. Right. And we should also just take the pain if that can't be done. If it's never gonna feel realistic, because I don't want, it can't bump the movie. It can't be like a giggle. It's gotta be like a great moment.
In this film, we bring to life a digital version of Arnold Schwarzenegger as he was in Terminator 1 and have him fight Christian Bale.
It was a great help to have a body double in for our T-800. You know, that way you have all of the eye lines and you have them really interacting with something as they're fighting.
Okay, couple of shadowy shots. We want to get the hint that it's Arnold Schwarzenegger, and then we start filming it, and she's like, okay, he starts going in for close-ups on the guy that's playing the body of the T-800 and says, you know, Ben, I really want to challenge you with this. You know, we're going to be right in the face. You guys are going to have to bring your best game for this.
So I challenged ILM, Ben Snow in particular, what can you do to create an early 80s Arnold Schwarzenegger photorealistically appearing in our film in 2009?
Like, okay, this isn't what we signed on for, but it's fantastically exciting, so yeah, okay. A bodybuilder acted the role, and then we had to replace various parts of him with Arnold Schwarzenegger.
So for our digital Arnold, we started with a live cast that Stan Winston and his group did during Terminator 1. It was a really good foundation to start off on because we didn't have anything physically that was usable to recreate Arnold from that era.
We had to use new skin technologies to make his skin look real. We developed hair materials and shaders to make his hair look real.
You know, lots and lots of hand tweaking. Every little angle, you notice something different. It's, you know, his upper lip is too big, it's too small, why is his eye so squinty? And it's just hundreds of iterations of sort of noodling to get the likeness from every angle.
At one point we had a conference call with Stan Winston Studios. One of the first things they said was, well, of course, with all the makeup, you know, they'd cover him in KY jelly. That's why he looks so shiny. Then the other thing they'd say was, one of the major things we were missing was that as soon as he went into character, he would clench his jaw, which made him look very different. It was things like that where it was invaluable to do the archaeology.
It's even hard for me to tell where they blended it, but they're blending in our CG chest with his upper torso.
The team at ILM has really pulled together to produce this digital Arnie. It wasn't a clear-cut process. It's one that has involved all the different departments. And at the end of it, I think we've produced something amazing.
We're all here because of the great thing Arnold Schwarzenegger and Jim Cameron put together in those pictures. It just felt like the proper thing to do, to tip the cap, respect the fan base, and give back a little bit. I think it's important to always protect a big surprise in the third act in a film of this nature. So naturally, our surprise is the reveal of the T-800. Here you see Connor getting ever closer to what he believes is Kyle Reese. The signal on board of his little transmitter there suggests he's getting closer to a Kyle Reese. And then we realize, whoops, that can't be Kyle Reese. The door flies open. Pause it right there. You'll see on the ground Christian's body, but if you look more astutely and a little bit more closely, you'll see that that's a dummy. It's something that we never found very satisfying. And I wanted to go back and articulate the arms and legs in a 3D capacity, but it proved too time intensive, and we didn't ultimately have the budget to get that fixed. So the argument was we'd trim a little bit off the head and a little bit off the tail, and it would come and go without being too egregious to the viewer. To this day, I don't like that shot. As we move forward, the camera goes up the torso of the body, a body that had been digitally manipulated to echo exactly Arnold Schwarzenegger's physique, until we land on his face right there. This is code that ILM wrote to make a photorealistic Arnold Schwarzenegger, which I'm hoping is a big treat to the fans as the advent of the T-800 is finally upon us. So let it play. Connor shoots up the torso, and ultimately it's the face that is left staring at him. Pause it right there, because we didn't have Schwarzenegger for a very, very long time, and we had to create a whole B scenario that you see reflected here, where the face is already gone as a function of Connor shooting with the machine gun up the torso. And it felt wildly unsatisfying, and there was a huge bump in this section of the movie, so I'm delighted that we were able to get the permission of the governor of California, who's obviously a very busy guy, and insert the likeness of 1983 Arnold Schwarzenegger into our picture. Go ahead and roll forward here, and we see the overwhelming strength of the T-800 as it throws Connor across the room, and this Connor being batted around. And one of my favorite shots coming up right here, the smack to the face as the T-800 recovers and rotates back into it, and it's curtains for John Connor.
And then also, his suit is gray, and that will give us a good information on the lighting as well.
It's really good to have a stuntman there doing the role of the Terminator. It helps the actors because it gives them a connection to their adversary. It helps our animators because it gives them some sense of motion. And it helps the editors and filmmakers in post-production because they can cut around it.
Every Terminator picture has made a contribution to visual effects. So we would never be so bold as to say, wow, we've matched that, we've made our contribution. But we wanted to do something. So I challenged ILM, Ben Snow in particular, what can you do to create an early 80s Arnold Schwarzenegger photorealistically appearing in our film in 2009?
The Arnie that we're trying to match is the Arnie from 20 years ago. So we did have various scans and masks that have been made from Arnie back in the original Terminator. But it quickly became clear that it's not necessarily just the shape of a head which makes someone look like them. So much of it is the movement, it's the mannerisms, and that turned out to be quite a challenge.
What I pitched to Charlie and to McGee was, okay, we are going to take footage from Terminator 1, and for every shot we have in our movie, we're going to look at that footage and say, what is his performance here? And use those to guide our performance.
So creatively, we didn't know if we were going to use a CG Arnold or just go an alternative route. So this is one of those other plans that we had where we came up from John Connor shooting his chest to what would continue up into an endoskeleton skull. So it kind of gave us the freedom and flexibility to go down a completely different route should the CG Arnold not be the path that we wanted to take.
Couldn't believe the realism that they create. You know, I don't know what it's going to look like when it's completely digitally altered, but you know, hopefully it's something special.
Hi there. Did you know that convicted felon O.J. Simpson was actually considered for the lead role in The Terminator? Director James Cameron rejected the choice at the time because he didn't think the, quote, likable, goofy, kind of innocent guy could pull off a cyborg assassin. If only he knew. Remember to click below to subscribe or on the side for more great content.